And it creates a ripple effect. And I believe that's how I'm making the biggest impact in family wellness. However, I'm also seeing, people are talking to me about, how do I get my kids to eat greens? And, I see your kid eating all these wonderful things. And how do I do that?
Welcome to another episode of Michigan Family Wellness.
Here at Michigan Family Wellness, we believe chiropractic care and nutritional-based therapies are a foundational part of a healthy family lifestyle. No matter where you're at in the mitten, having a family is such an exciting time of life. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by stress, fatigue, and responsibilities with the kids, we invite you to become part of this empowering community to create happy, healthy families. By providing engaging interviews and practical applications, Dr. Wollner cultivates family health by equipping our listeners with the tools they need to elevate wellness in their own family. Dr. Wollner passionately serves the Michigan community at his chiropractic and nutrition-based practice, where he specializes in pregnancy, pediatrics, and family wellness care. And now, here's your host, Dr. Kyle Wollner.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to another empowering episode of Michigan Family Wellness. I am your host, Dr. Kyle, and I am so elated and excited about this episode today. My good friend, Lisa, this is someone I've known for years, for a long time now. We have a fantastic friendship. I'm so excited about everything that she's doing in her community out in Ann Arbor. And like I said, I'm just looking forward to bringing all of her skills, her expertise, her unique perspective to the podcast here. Before I jump in and tell you more about Lisa as the professional, I do want to let you guys know, if you're listening at the time this podcast is being released on iTunes, you'll notice that we talk about a couple events that have actually already passed. So if you get confused, there's just a little bit of delay, with the publishing date of the episode on iTunes and the actual time in reality. So we do talk about the Leaky Brain event that happened on June 11th, and we do talk about her guided meditation class on June 4th. However, if you are listening online, just right from the website and in real time, I'll just say that I do want to avail you to those events and make you encourage you to attend those, because those are going to be really great opportunities to elevate your family wellness, to learn more, to get awesome practical applications, and begin making impactful changes for you and your family right away. Now, at the same time, if you are listening to the podcast here with its current release date at the end of June here on iTunes, I do want to let you know we have got a series of live events coming up that are really targeted towards that female wellness, that alternative female health approach. So please be mindful. Saturday, July 16th, chiropractic care for pregnancy and pediatrics. So we're really going to unpack the benefits and the value that a woman can get from receiving chiropractic care during her pregnancy and throughout her pregnancy and even postpartum. Furthermore, we're going to talk about the chiropractic benefits and values for their newborn children. So we're going to really unpack and avail everyone to those benefits and values as well. And on Saturday, August 6th, we have the Female Hormone Symphony. So you guys, I've done a lot of research, I've done a lot of training. The female endocrine system is very complex. And so if you really want to come learn and understand more about why you might be having some of these chronic health issues, they could be related to dysfunctional hormonal patterns, and how the benefits of chiropractic and targeted nutritional-based therapies can help to correct those imbalances naturally so that you don't need to be on, for example, hormone replacement therapy for the rest of your life. Again, that following later on in August, we have natural birth techniques. So this kind of ties into the chiropractic care for pregnancy and pediatrics. So I really want to let people know and educate them on there's more than one way to go about your birth experience, okay? We're going to talk about the Tosin epidural cycle and how you can be having a perfectly normal pregnancy and all of a sudden it turns into a C-section scenario. We talk about this on the episode I did with Sharon Quinn earlier this month, so I really encourage you guys to check that episode out. But we're really just going to educate the community on there's so many alternatives and options for your natural birth. It's really been a natural birth process for thousands and thousands of years. This whole idea of being on your back in a hospital, that whole thing, it has not been around for nearly as long, comparatively speaking. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. We do need the medical model. We do need those precautions in place for when when interventions do need to be taken. However, we want to avail the community that there are other options available. So like I said, please reference that episode with Sharon Quinn, like I mentioned earlier. So without any further delay, let's introduce Lisa. Lisa is a Michigan licensed as well as nationally certified massage therapist and a holistic health coach. She graduated from the Cincinnati School of Medical Massage in 2008 and has been practicing massage ever since. Lisa worked at the University of Michigan Hospital from 2010 to 2013, where she performed massage treatments on hospital inpatients, outpatients, and staff with varying medical and massage needs, while also working in the private sector as an employee of Tranquil Being from 2011 to 2014. Lisa is also an integrative nutrition health coach and helps people transition to clean eating and lifestyle. She runs clean eating and detox groups as well as teaches meditation classes, hosts spa retreat nights, sound healing events, and more. So without further delay, let's hear from Lisa. Welcome to the podcast, Lisa. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm just really excited and elated to have you on the podcast today. Every time, that we're able to catch up and reconnect, I always laugh, because meeting you for the first time several years ago, way before I was even a chiropractor, both going through, some advanced training with massage therapy, years ago with the Ann Arbor school, you coming up from Ohio, that was just so great. And it's been wonderful just to kind of keep in touch over the years.
I totally agree.
Yeah. And that was even before you were married, before you had kids. You've had all these major life changes and successes that I just am so happy for you. So
well, thank you. Yeah, it's nice to see all the changes that you've had as well.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Thanks again for coming on the podcast. I just told our listenership a little bit about you as the professional, as the expert. Can you tell us a little bit about just Lisa as the person? What does family look like for you right now?
Well, I live here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I moved up here from Ohio. And my immediate family is my husband and my two wonderful children. I have an almost 3-year-old and a 3-month-old.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, she's actually sitting right here. She's I have her wrapped onto my body right now.
Now that's commitment right there. So for all the moms who are listening, or all the moms-to-be who are listening, that is real dedication and commitment there, doing a podcast while taking care of your newborn. So
yeah, she's
awesome.
Great. Yeah. And, as far as the rest of my family, I grew up in Toledo, Ohio with my mother and my father. We had a typical upbringing, eating typical foods, doing all the typical things. And I have one sister and, a whole community of friends and family that are all part of my family.
Right.
So
that's awesome. Now, okay, we'll let the Ohio thing slide. We don't want to get, into too much about that with it being Michigan Family Wellness. But since you live in Michigan now, we'll make an exception for you.
Thanks.
And I know you probably get that a lot, so I don't want to sound too annoying, but
I do. If there's any consolation, my husband went to undergrad here at U of M. So.
Right. Okay. So you totally get a pass.
Right.
And yeah, so again, one of our sayings here on the podcast is that we're smitten with the mitten. Do you have a favorite place, a trail, a lake, anything that you love here about Michigan?
Oh gosh, I have so many. I've been to so many cool places in Michigan.
It's hard just to pick one, right? Yeah.
It is. I love the whole West Coast. Actually, on the top of my list would be South Haven because we got married there. So.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, the town's awesome. The lighthouse is beautiful. The beach and the sunsets there are incredible. But Michigan's really the place to be if you want to, beautiful lakes and doing things outside, isn't it? I've camped
absolutely
in Michigan.
Yeah.
There's a place in the Leelanau Peninsula, right at the tip, where you can camp there, and there's water surrounding you all around. That's got to be at top of my list.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Over in the Taos area, we've camped there. That's beautiful. Port Austin.
Awesome.
That's amazing. So, yeah, have been a lot of really neat places here. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty smitten as well.
Awesome. And you know what really strikes me too? There's all these beautiful places that, people mention on the podcast when I have them on. The Leelanau Peninsula has come up a few times, I think. But even just, your backyard, like just knowing you personally, I've had the pleasure and the honor of just, visiting your family at your home. And you guys have a wonderful spot there right in, Ann Arbor, very close to downtown. There's an awesome park right by you guys. I mean, just in terms of neighborhood community living, there are so many beautiful places, here in the state where you don't necessarily have to go to like a coastal area or, a special destination. You can find it right in your backyard. So that's what I love about Michigan as well.
Absolutely. Like Ann Arbor has so many parks. There's 2 parks within like half a mile of my house.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Great. I mean, I'm sure we could talk all day about Michigan and, its beauty and all that. But let's dive in. Let's talk about, let's provide some value and some benefit, for people who are listening here today. So, like I said, in your introduction, in your bio, and even in our pre-chat earlier, I was, we were talking about all the things that you're doing, all of your unique perspectives, your superior perceptions on health and wellness. Tell us how, what you do really relates to elevating family wellness.
I think because I'm working with individuals, but when you work with individuals, you are obviously elevating the wellness of the entire family, because I'm working with what makes that person happy, what makes that person healthy. And in turn, they're going home and they're working with their families. They're making choices for their children. They're making choices for, helping their husbands or wives make choices. And it creates a ripple effect. And I believe that's how I'm making the biggest impact in family wellness. However, I'm also seeing, people are talking to me about, how do I get my kids to eat greens? And, I see your kid eating all these wonderful things, and how do I do that? And so
talk a little bit about that. That's really interesting. So, I mean, it's easy to tell an adult, to modify their lifestyle or eat more, cleaner, or eat more vegetables. But I guess speak to what you were just saying, how do you apply that for young kids or, or even younger?
Well, in my family, I'm a little lucky because my son is open to everything. But, he also sees, how do I want to say this? He's part of the entire experience. So he's cooking with me. We make smoothies, we do fresh juices together. So he's part of the actual preparation. Right. And then he sees me eating in this way. I don't expect him to eat things that I'm not eating. I never put bad labels like, ew, veggies are gross, or such and such is gross. I never put labels on food that way. I'm very, specific about my language around food and how much I love things. And, I'll be eating something and he's like, I want to try that. I want to try it. So it's more just us eating together as a family, us spending that time and making it more of an experience, I think. Yeah. And that's what I suggest people do with their own families, and just keep introducing things. He didn't like tomatoes for the longest time. He decided that he didn't like the texture or whatever. And all of a sudden he's eating tomatoes. So, it changes, and he's only about to turn 3. So, so there's lots of ways, to get things in. I'm not really into hiding vegetables, but that works for people. I really want him to know that he's eating these foods and they make him strong, and they make him fast, and they make him, all these things that he wants to be. So.
And I think what you're saying is great because, the earlier you can lay that foundation and establish those patterns, those frameworks, when things do get busy, later on, say, if he gets older and he's doing sports or he's doing, he's got all these activities going on, he's much more likely, in my opinion, to have those good patterns and frameworks established so that he can continue to perform and to continue to, have that prevention lifestyle so that he doesn't need to, go a more, invasive route, say with, the current medical model for whatever, might come along, whether it be a sickness or an illness or, God forbid, anything like that. But yeah, I, totally resonate with what you're saying. Get your kids involved, as a practical application. You mentioned, just spending time together preparing those meals. Like that's huge. How much time do you think, people actually spend preparing, whether it be dinner, for example? Everything's on the go right now.
Right.
And you just get so much more value and nutritional benefit, when you actually take the time, to prepare your meals. And especially you get so much more benefit when you do that, with your family, with your kids. So I commend you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In a busy world, that's how, sometimes you have to make it work for your family. Right. And that's a good place to get that quality time as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. My wife and I, we love cooking together, especially, using some older techniques, whether it be using, cast iron. We love to go camping. We actually bring our food when we go camping. We don't just order pizza, or bring fast food like I've seen some people do.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. It cracks me up, especially with the camping thing. You're outside, you're in nature, even if, you build a fire, it's like cook over the fire, like actually make real food. It's so much better.
Right.
So, well, not to get too off topic, but let's circle back. So you're outlined for our listeners, all the different things, in terms of the tools that you use, to help elevate their wellness. So definitely massage therapy would be one.
Yes. I'm a holistic health coach as well. So I do health coaching, similar to like health counseling. I do that one-on-one and in groups. I also run group detoxes that way. And, really looking at, what's going on with your health and in a holistic way. So looking at, how are you sleeping? How are you eating? How are you exercising and moving? How are you...
Right.
What's work look like? What's family look like? What stress reduction techniques do you have? Because all of those things are key to health. So, and then in my one-on-one sessions, I also do some EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. It's tapping on acupressure points. We do that for stress reduction or for different other ailments that they may have.
Yeah.
Work out things that way. I do sound healing and sound therapy as well, with Tibetan singing bowls and with tuning forks. So I actually run either full group setting singing bowl events, or I'll do tuning forks or the bowls inside of a massage session, which is pretty powerful stuff as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. So,
everything that you're saying is fantastic. One thing I see a lot in my practice, in my office, are those emotional reflexes that are coming up. That's kind of been a theme actually here on the podcast for the last few weeks is, this emotional component to our health. And I think it's a major, major issue to address, especially when, as a chiropractor, I rule out all of the other neuromusculoskeletal causes for that person's pain or for their obstacles to healing. The only thing that's left really is that emotional component. I want to make everyone aware of and avail them back to, episode 6 of the podcast here where we had Lillian Easterly Smith on. She talks a lot about all of this emotional reflexes, especially as it relates to, her therapy and counseling practice. But, relating that to what we're saying here, your pain or your dysfunction or your chronic illness doesn't always have to be a structural or a biochemical cause. It could be an emotional block that's preventing further levels of healing from taking place. Would you agree with that yourself there, Lisa?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the messages that we're telling ourselves and the messages that we were told as kids and all of that stuff is stored within our bodies and definitely is affecting our health.
Yeah. So then do you work with like affirmations with people or any kind of, mechanisms to address those? Well, you mentioned the emotional freedom technique.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And that uses affirmations with that. And I do. If people are open to that and that's something that they want to do, but a lot of it is talking, and obviously I do some referrals out if people need some counseling to a different level. But
Right.
yeah, all of these techniques and modalities
Right.
work on a deeper level than just physical. Like
Yeah.
sound healing and sound therapy is way deeper than just physical. We're working with the cells there.
Right.
With everything, our cells are vibrating, and wellness is vibrating at a high frequency, and it's getting your cells to that wellness, to that high frequency. So,
Yeah, and just to be crystal clear for our listenership too, I am a Michigan State licensed chiropractor, so I do stay within my scope. I'm not the person to talk about the details of whatever's going on in your life, in terms of emotionally. I would definitely refer you to someone like Lisa, to do more, emotional freedom techniques, something like that, or even Lillian, who's, got more training in that field as a counselor, as a professional. However, I will say, and this is what I've mentioned before, there are very specific homeopathic, botanical, flower remedies, different herbs that can be used on a biochemical level to support the body's healing emotionally. A lot of that is frontal lobe brain reflexes that are not being processed. And, through chiropractic, through nutrition, we do help that person get over and help them process those emotions or those false lies or those, disbeliefs about who they are. But I'm not directly, verbalizing that out with them. That's, definitely a different expertise, like I've mentioned. But without those movement and biochemical supports, I think that component is really important. So I just want to make our listenership crystal clear about that. Anything to add with that, Lisa? I mean, I think we mentioned, I would actually advocate the sound healing that you do.
Yes.
I think that frequency healing is huge.
It is huge. And, there's actually a book by Dr. Gaynor who did sound healing with cancer patients. And he had phenomenal results with having them do some vocal toning. So some different, the do, re, mi kind of thing.
Yeah.
As well as playing the singing bowls. And they were just having wonderful results in symptoms and feeling energetically, all these different things. So he wrote called Sounds of Healing. That was absolutely amazing. If people are interested in that, in the checkout. And I also use those, like I said, the tuning forks. Those actually help in my massage practice because I can get deeper into a muscle with a tuning fork.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then I can also use them on acupressure points. So opening up meridians and getting the energy to flow through the body. So really powerful stuff. It's a little bit deeper than acupressure, but not as intense as acupuncture. So pretty cool.
Yeah, and just to, get more real and vulnerable with our listeners here. I don't know how much I've talked about this, but I actually have a background before I was into chiropractic, even before I was in massage therapy. My first career path, if you will, was music. So I really have an appreciation for the work that you're doing in terms of that acoustical healing and, applying music and sound and frequencies for those, intentions and for those benefits because of my background in trumpet performance, actually. So there's been many years when I've, been, in a room by myself, playing these drones, these low drones, and absorbing all of that sound, through my ears and applying that, through the horn as an extension of my voice and everything. And honestly, Lisa, all of that, with the knowledge that I have now, it's all vagal. It's extremely vagal. And we know that the vagus nerve is our parasympathetic nervous system, and that's the component of the nervous system that is compromised when we're stressed, when we're, going too hard, and that sympathetic response is that fight and flight response, but that parasympathetic, the benefits from the sound healing is completely vagus nerve. It's completely parasympathetic, and so
humming, right? Because isn't humming how you exercise vagus nerve?
Yeah. So we talk about functional neurology, vagus nerve exercises. So you're absolutely right. Humming is a great way to help encourage that vagus nerve. So
right. That same type of vibration within the
uh-huh.
body. Yeah, very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, okay, we have the sound healing, we have the massage therapy. Maybe just talk a little bit about the benefits from the massage therapy. You know, why would someone go get, you know, a massage if they're not, you know, if they're new to it in terms of the profession?
Well, I think people get massages for different reasons. You know, some people hold a lot of stress in their shoulders and their backs. And, you know, we live in a very desk-bound society. In fact, there's a book called Desk-Bound. And we're sitting a lot, and we're shoulders forward, and our muscles are shortening in our chest. And so we're having a lot of tension in our backs and in our necks. And in fact, our bodies are changing because of that. But so people will come for muscular reasons, pain and whatnot. I also do some craniosacral work, which is working more with the nervous system and brain and spinal cord type stuff. And that's very, you know, gentle, working with the craniosacral fluid and, you know, really, really gentle, amazing work. I do lymphatic drainage. So that's a whole nother, you know, realm. If people are holding a lot of fluid in their legs or fluid in their arms, I'm certified in that. So moving fluid out of places that it shouldn't be. Let's put it that way. And in turn, also helping boost the immune system. So, you know, it could be muscular. It could be for relaxation. Some people just want to chill out because we're running around so there's that. There's, you know, like I said before, opening meridians and, you know, moving energy throughout the body, that type of thing as well. Yeah. So there's a million benefits for massage. It just depends what people are comfortable with and what type of modality they're seeking out.
Sure. And I can speak personally too. You know, it's definitely been, you know, a little bit of time, but I can remember, you know, we've actually done work on each other, and I would just advocate, you know, for everyone to get in touch with you if they're interested in any kind of, you know, continuing massage therapy work, because, you know, your technique is really specific. You're great with your hands. You know, you can really get into those, whether that be hypertonic or tight muscles, and really, you know, we talk about massage therapy as almost like a second heart. You know, so if you've got your internal heart as an organ, you know, it's pumping all your blood. And I just think, you know, the intention that you provide and the level of focus and healing and all of that you're able to, you know, provide your clients with is just, you know, really, really unique. So I would advocate everyone, you know, contacting you and getting in touch with you for that, or any of your services, really.
Thank you. I really love what I do.
Yeah. Now I know I don't want, you know, to kind of corner you into sharing anything that you're uncomfortable with, but I do know a little bit about your story. Do you mind sharing with our listeners just a little bit about your own personal health story, maybe with regards to, you know, MS or anything like that?
Sure. So I was diagnosed in 2009 with MS, although my symptoms started in 2007. I actually... One day I didn't have any symptoms, and then one day I woke up and I had a lot of pain in my eye, and I realized I couldn't see out of my eye at all. I was completely blind in one eye.
That's so scary.
I know. And so it kind of took me on this whirlwind of, oh my goodness, what's happening? But, you know, everyone was like, calm down, go see, you know, the optometrist, because you probably just have a scratched retina or something. Well, you know, 20 doctors later, they said it was optic neuritis, and these are possibilities, but they didn't diagnose me until 2009. So that was 2 years later after my first symptom. But so I was, you know, put on medication. I was put on antidepressants because I was really kind of in a dark place. You know, getting something, I didn't know anything about MS at all, and most people don't, I've come to find. So, you know, I was in a dark place, but nobody really knew that because you know, internally I was really hurting, but outside, you know, I was still my normal, hello, hi, how's everybody doing? So, so it took a lot of support from family and friends, and, you know, I got a grip on what I was feeling and, you know, what I wanted to do with this, and realized, you know, I can't live this way. I can't, if I feel better, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. And, which at that time was living pretty hard and pretty fast and not sleeping and working long hours and, pretty
Right.
stressed out lifestyle, pretty toxic, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So I started reading all the self-help books and I read a bunch of things about MS and found Dr. Terry Walls. I don't know if
Yeah.
yeah, she had a pretty amazing story. I'll just quickly touch on it, but she has a progressive form of MS, which is different than the form that I have. But she was wheelchair bound, and through her diet and lifestyle changes, she actually got to the point where she's now like racing bicycles. Like it's amazing what she's done from where she was. But anyways, I found her, and that started to give me some hope. And I was like, okay, so she made these changes. And although hers were very radical, very, very radical changes, I was like, okay, but this is still something that I can do, right? There's an empowerment feeling when you see somebody else doing something for their health in that way. So yeah, I started practicing EFT on myself. That's why I do it with clients now, because it's so helpful for me, for my anxiety, for, physical pains that I was having, everything. And then I took classes on healing modalities other than massage therapy, because I was already a massage therapist at that time.
Right.
And that's when the cranial sacral and reflexology and all that stuff came up, and started doing a lot of whatever I could do on myself as well.
Gotcha.
So that's where it started. But then I found that clients were coming to me with when I was using these techniques, and they were, it was helping them.
Getting results. Yeah.
Yeah. So it extended out from like my own background of health. And then I realized, wow, this is really helping others. And, this whole bag of tricks is really where it's at for me. So, yeah. So fast forward, I'm 7 years after a diagnosis. I have 2 kids, and I'm about to turn 40 in July, and I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel better than I did way before diagnosis. So
I think that's inspiring. Thank you for sharing that, Lisa. I think that's really what our listenership is looking for. Just those personal stories, those testimonials where, they don't have to be the victim, or they don't have to have their diagnosis, if you will, identify them. You can, and you mentioned Terry as, an extreme example, but you can make these simple but powerful interventions in your life, especially with relevance to dietary modifications and lifestyle modifications, that can just have such profound impact. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Now, I know you've done a lot of other, different therapies as well, chiropractic, acupuncture. Can you speak on any of those?
Absolutely. Yes, I have a whole healing team. I use the word healing not in cure. I still have MS, but like I said, I feel great. Healing to me is feeling good in your body and feeling energetic and, loving where you're at and loving yourself in your life. Yes, I have a chiropractor. In fact, I've worked with you quite a few times.
Fantastic. Yes. Awesome.
Yes, love your work. And I've seen an acupuncturist for years. That has really helped, and that helped me throughout my pregnancies as well. And I see a massage therapist regularly. Yeah, I have to keep things going regularly to reduce my stress levels, to keep my body happy and healthy.
So I like what you use there, that language, that a healing team. So it's like you have this team of people that really help. Obviously you would be considered, someone that I would think would be part of someone else's team, but you practice what you preach in the sense that you have your own team of alternative health providers and practitioners that help keep you healthy, so that you can help keep other people healthy. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I can't do this all by myself. So yes, absolutely. We need each other for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Lisa, I've really enjoyed everything that you've laid down for our listeners today. As we kind of start to get to the end of the podcast here, do you have any inspirational quotes, or, we've mentioned a few books, a few resources, or any words of affirmation, like what really motivates you, to do the work, or perhaps, what is your why for doing what you do?
the quote that I always say to my clients, and I feel like I say it quite a bit, is that small steps are still moving forward.
Right.
So do what you can today. Wellness is a lifestyle. It's, family wellness is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that you can do together. So, be patient with yourself and just begin. There's never going to be a perfect time to start. There's never going to be, enough education for you to start. Just do those little things that you can do today to start to make change, and powerful things can happen that way. So, and I think that's my why is, I have a family now. I've transformed my health to a good place. And now I have these children who are watching me and looking for cues from me, about how to live. And I want to consistently be doing things that make my family healthier and happier.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, honestly, what I see in my practice is, people may be coming to me, to help with their back pain or their headaches or their, even their gut, dysfunction or their abdominal pain, but that's usually not the core thing that they're really looking for. Oftentimes what I find, it's, doc, I want to spend more time with my spouse, or I want to spend more time with my loved ones, my family, my partner. And I want to contribute more at work, whether that be, not having to go to work, with pain, or not, or just being more productive in their life, being able to contribute more, to the world around them because they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So
Absolutely.
I think you would say you see the same thing with your practice as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So what should people be listening to or reading in terms of improving their family wellness? Do you have any resources to equip our listeners with?
Yeah, I just started the book Brain Maker by Dr.
Yeah.
Pearl. Have you read that?
I haven't. I'm very familiar with his work, but I have not read his Brain Maker book.
Yeah, it's all about the gut microbiome and protecting your brain, which I'm very interested in. So I just started that, and so far so good. I'm loving it. That's one that's on my, that was been on my list for a while. I read The Extreme Art of Self-Care, which I'm a huge advocate of self-care for everyone, especially, people who have families and are busy doing things for everyone else. So that's Cheryl Richardson. It's phenomenal. It gives you really practical steps of some things that you can do for self-care. I just started listening to the Ultimate Health podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, nah, that's a nice one. And of course, this is my number one.
Of course, right.
But that's a good one as well. And then on my list to get is Women, Food, and Desire. And that's by Alexandra Jameson. And that talks a lot about cravings and, what our cravings are telling us. And sort of like you were just saying, what people are really craving, not really food. Is it something else,
Right.
So.
Right. Well, I want to let our listeners know that we will have a dedicated webpage to Lisa's episode here at MichiganFamilyWellness.com, where we will have all of the show notes and the clickable links for everything that we're mentioning. Lisa, you mentioned Dr. Perlmutter and the Brain Maker book. I do want to avail people and let them know about coming up next month, actually, June 11th. We're actually going to be doing a Leaky Brain live event talk over at Summit on the Park in Canton. So that's going to be a really good event. If you're interested in learning more about neurocognitive diseases, neurodegenerative, decline, the practical applications, again, a central tenet of, the podcast here and my chiropractic and nutrition practice are those practical applications to equip you with the tools you need to identify and prevent early age onset, neurodegenerative decline. So I encourage people to check that out as well. There's going to be a schedule in the show notes for this podcast where you can find more information about that. And since we mentioned Summit on the Park, I want to ask Lisa about what's happening coming up here on June 4th.
Well, I am actually doing a guided meditation class. It's an hour-long class, and we will actually be doing I'll be talking a little bit about meditation, but most of the time we're going to spend meditating. I'm going to show a few types of meditation and guide people through it. So it'll be very practical things you can take home and ways that you can start to incorporate this into your life, because it is powerful. That's the one thing I didn't mention as I was going through all of this. That's something that I started doing on my healing journey as well that has made a huge impact.
The meditation,
Yes.
Well, and I think this really points to another central tenet here on the podcast is we can do far more together than we could ever do apart. And so I actually did a meditation lecture at Summit on the Park almost a year ago now. And we had so much interest and we had so much feedback, positive feedback from that event. And most of the feedback centered around, hey, Dr. Kyle, we loved what you talked about, the science, the neurology, how chiropractic and nutrition relate. That's all great. But what we really wanted was kind of like a guided meditation like experience, or like actually show us how to do that. And honestly, Lisa, you were the first person that popped into my mind, because honestly, this is not one of my like forte strengths. And I was like, well, what if we brought in someone else who had this amazing ability to kind of lead a group, through a meditation and provided that for the community. So, we reached out to you and, we're making it happen. So thank you for doing that. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I am too. And I'm so thankful that you thought of me, because it's really something that I love to share with people and make it easy, because I think that meditation feels like something that a lot of people should put their hands on. And it really isn't as complicated as we make it sound.
Perfect. Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you've heard about meditation, or you're confused about how to do it, or how does it actually, what do I actually do? This would be the ideal event to attend and learn more from Lisa, as an expert on how to approach this on, whatever level that you're at with it. You don't have to necessarily, I'm sure you'll talk about this, you don't have to necessarily get into a lotus position and, be a, Tibetan monk and, be perfect at everything. You can just, come as you are and participate at the level that you're at. So I really encourage people to not only attend that, but to invite their friends and family and loved ones as well.
Absolutely.
Great. So, and real quick, Lisa, let's say I'm listening to this, maybe I'm a parent, maybe I'm, someone that's really resonating with your message, feeling compelled to learn more about you and to get in touch with you. What would be those channels, those avenues for how to best contact you, or how to best learn more about the work that you're doing out there in Ann Arbor?
I have a website that's lisanogueira.massagetherapy.com. That has all of my contact information there. You're welcome to email me or call me from there. You can also connect with me on Facebook and Instagram. I post things periodically about health and wellness and different things that people find helpful. And I also have a Clean Life community group on Facebook. So you're welcome to join that. It's completely free. And there we'll post recipes and share about living clean, which is in my terms is, eating healthful foods and nutrient dense foods, and trying to clean up the products we have in our houses and that we're using on our bodies and things like that, whatever level you're on there as well. But yeah, we're posting articles and all kinds of things in there. So
awesome.
Feel free to connect with me on any of those, and I'd love to hear from people.
Awesome. Yeah. And like I said, everyone, we're going to have a dedicated webpage at MichiganFamilyWellness.com where you'll find everything that we've mentioned here in the episode on that webpage, and everything that you would need to contact Lisa. Also, one of my favorite features, if you're listening on your mobile device, which over 60% of our listenership is, you can just, whether you're on your iPhone or your Android or your iPad or tablet or whatever, if you're just looking at the album art there, you can tap that album art and magically, I love this feature, all of the show notes expand before you, and you don't even have to go to your web browser, to get all of that information and resources. They're just all right there, right in the show notes. So
Great.
Lisa, it's been wonderful having you on the podcast this morning. Thank you so much for coming. Do you have any last words of encouragement or inspiration for our listeners?
No, I just think, like I said, do what you can today and keep it positive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Lisa. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
As I love to say here at Michigan Family Wellness, we can do far more together than we could ever do apart. Coming to you from beautiful Southeast Michigan, I'm your host, Dr. Kyle, and this is Michigan Family Wellness.
Now that you've been equipped with the latest in family wellness solutions, we want to encourage you to apply these strategies right away. But the thing is, there's still so much to learn. Connect with Dr. Wallner's Chiropractic and Nutrition Office by going to MichiganFamilyWellness.com and click the newsletter sign-up button to join the informative and supportive community of chiropractic wellness. You will also receive as a gift from Dr. Wallner a copy of Michigan Family Wellness Solutions, an invaluable resource containing dynamic tools to elevate family health and vitality. Michigan Family Wellness wants to thank you for being part of today's podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and review.